Key points. Low rule of law rankings. Pakistan ranks poorly in the WJP's Rule of Law Index, consistently placed near the bottom among South Asian countries, with 130th out of 142 countries in 2023. Rankings reflect significant issues in areas like police accountability, regulatory enforcement, and judicial reform. Public distrust and studies. Several studies confirm the public's low confidence in Pakistan's police, including research by the Consortium for Development Policy Research, Gallup, and Horizon Insights. Although initiatives such as digitalization and streamlined reporting have been launched, they have yet to change public perception significantly. Political interference and structural barriers. Frequent political interference disrupts law enforcement, with senior police officers facing pressure to align with political mandates to retain their positions. Short tenures for senior officers result in unstable law enforcement leadership and a lack of continuity in reforms. Internal constraints and police response. Officers often have to contend with limited resources and poor infrastructure, impacting their operational effectiveness. There is little visible resistance from senior police officers to political meddling, with internal frustrations mainly expressed privately. Campaigns for public perception. Efforts to improve the police's public image have had limited success, with the force still perceived as one of the most corrupt public sector entities. Some dismiss poor rankings as external critiques with biased or conspiratorial agendas, while others argue the rankings should prompt institutional introspection. Need for genuine reforms. For meaningful progress, Pakistan's law enforcement needs a more proactive approach to addressing systemic issues and embracing reforms. Viewing external evaluations like the WJP Index as mirrors, rather than dismissing them, could foster constructive self-reflection within the police force. Crux. Pakistan's consistently low ranking in the World Justice Project's Rule of Law Index highlights severe issues within its law enforcement sector, especially regarding police accountability and political interference. While systemic reforms and public perception campaigns have been attempted, sustained improvements are hindered by political meddling, resource shortages, and institutional complacency. For genuine progress, Pakistan's law enforcement agencies need to reflect upon these rankings not as external critiques, but as potential catalysts for institutional change. Key points. Decline in legal unity. The legal community was once united against Gen Musharraf's authoritarian actions, achieving significant success in restoring judicial independence. The 26th Amendment has failed to prompt a similar unified response, as divisions within the bar have weakened collective action. Erosion of public trust. Lawyers were once celebrated for championing the rule of law, but incidents of misconduct, such as violence in court premises, have tarnished their image. The bar is now often associated with factionalism and nuisance value rather than being a symbol of justice. Influence of bar politics. Leadership in bar associations has become a lucrative pursuit, often involving heavy financial investment for electoral success. The focus on electoral gains has replaced the commitment to judicial independence and the rule of law. Fragmentation in legal community. The divided nature of bar associations is exemplified by the Sindh High Court Bar Association's internal conflicts and the mixed election results of the Supreme Court Bar Association. This fragmentation reflects a shift from unified action to competing interests within the legal community. Implications for the future. Unless bar politics realigns with the foundational ideals of an independent judiciary, any movement to challenge political overreach, like the 26th Amendment, may struggle to gain traction. Without unity, the legal community risks becoming sidelined in matters of judicial and democratic reform. Crux. The anticipated lawyers' movement against the 26th Amendment to the Constitution of Pakistan seems unlikely due to significant divisions within the legal community. While lawyers once united to restore judicial independence under Gen Musharraf, bar politics has since become fragmented and self-serving, with personal gains often prioritized over collective ideals. Without cohesion and a revival of the original commitment to the rule of law, Pakistan's legal fraternity risks losing its influence in promoting justice and democracy. Key points. Education emergency ineffectiveness. The education emergency has sparked discussions and events, but has yet to produce substantial on-ground improvements. Influential advocates like Bela Raza Jamil strive for reform, yet policymakers have not implemented recommended changes. Bela Raza Jamil's contributions. Bela has pioneered initiatives like the Pakistan Learning Festival and ASER, Pakistan, to measure learning outcomes and promote education inclusivity. Her work emphasizes the importance of local languages in education, aiming to make learning accessible to children from diverse backgrounds. Challenges of English-imposed hybrid pedagogy. Teachers often lack English proficiency, and the hybrid approach, where English textbooks are taught in Urdu, impedes critical thinking. Using the mother tongue for early education would create a more welcoming school environment and foster gradual, natural language acquisition. Regressive language policies. Sindh's past policy of using regional languages has been disrupted by unofficial shifts toward English in public schools. Exam boards often accommodate this change without considering its impact on educational quality, further undermining learning outcomes. Educational inequality and language divide. The divide between elite English medium schools and under-resourced public institutions deepens social inequity. Language policies that favor English perpetuate this class divide, benefiting the elite while sidelining children's right to learn in their native languages. Warnings from educational thinkers. Scholars like Robert Philipson, Paulo Freire, and Maria Montessori have highlighted the detrimental effects of linguistic imperialism and class-based educational systems. The current language policy serves to maintain societal stratification, suppressing public dissent, and isolating advocates for language rights. Crux. Despite the declaration of an education emergency in Pakistan, systemic issues remain unaddressed, particularly regarding the medium of instruction. The nation's hybrid pedagogy, which imposes English on students and teachers who lack proficiency, hampers effective learning. Bela Raza Jamil's achievements in promoting inclusive, accessible education highlight an alternative approach. The focus should be on mother tongue-based education in early years to foster a supportive learning environment, allowing gradual transition to other languages. The current system deepens educational divides and fails to promote critical thinking, benefiting only the elite. Key points. Polio endemic in 2 countries. Polio remains a health challenge in Pakistan and Afghanistan due to persistent misinformation about vaccines. Conspiracy theories, such as vaccines causing infertility, have fueled hesitancy, delaying eradication efforts. Gaza's proactive vaccination efforts. In Gaza, despite conflict, public health officials, local organizations, and communities have supported polio vaccinations. Israel and Palestine cooperate on vaccination to prevent the spread of polio, prioritizing public health over political divides. Contrast with Pakistan and Afghanistan. Unlike Gaza, efforts in Pakistan and Afghanistan are hindered by misinformation, lack of education, and logistical issues. Vaccine hesitancy persists even though polio-free regions enjoy healthier populations without adverse effects. Education and public health. Gaza's high literacy rate, 97%, and gender parity in education support public health initiatives, contrasting with Pakistan, 62%, and Afghanistan, 37%, where literacy, especially for women, remains low. Gender disparity in education exacerbates public health challenges in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Additional challenges in Pakistan and Afghanistan. Addressing polio requires not only vaccination, but also improving sanitation, clean water access, and nutrition to reduce disease susceptibility. Enforcing penalties and incentives, similar to those in tax policies, could encourage vaccination adherence. Learning from Gaza. Gaza's experience suggests that public health campaigns can succeed in difficult conditions if misinformation is combated and public trust is established. By adopting Gaza's model of community engagement and addressing the root causes of hesitancy, Pakistan and Afghanistan can work toward eradicating polio. Crux. Polio remains endemic only in Pakistan and Afghanistan, largely due to misinformation and vaccine hesitancy. Unlike Gaza, where the population has embraced vaccination efforts despite severe socio-political challenges, Pakistan and Afghanistan face deep-rooted resistance to vaccines. Addressing this issue requires dismantling conspiracy theories, improving education, especially for women, and incentivizing vaccination. Gaza's success shows that even under conflict, public health campaigns can work if public trust is established. If Pakistan and Afghanistan follow Gaza's example, they can make significant strides toward eradicating polio. Key points: increased Saudi investment. Saudi Arabia has increased its promised investment in Pakistan by $600 million, totaling $2.8 billion. Prime Minister Sharif's visit to Saudi Arabia resulted in 7 new Memoranda of Understanding (MOUs). Gulf investment challenges. Despite initial plans for Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar to invest $25 billion each over 5 years, only a fraction of these pledges has materialized. Previous promises have only resulted in limited investments, such as Saudi Arabia's shareholding in a Pakistani oil company and Emirati involvement in Karachi's port infrastructure. Limited success in other sectors. The aviation sector, including Pakistan International Airlines, PIA, and Islamabad Airport, has failed to attract Qatari or other Gulf investors. Chinese investment in the second phase of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPS, is also delayed due to security concerns and contractual issues. Investor confidence issues. Issues with one-sided revisions of power contracts and investor vilification harm Pakistan's investment climate. Growing political and economic instability has led multiple foreign companies to exit Pakistan. Need for policy reforms. While the PM's efforts to secure foreign investment are notable, these will remain ineffective without structural reforms. Policy consistency, sanctity of contracts, and other investor-centric reforms are essential for creating a favorable investment environment. Economic stability as a priority. Attracting substantial foreign investments is critical to supporting Pakistan's foreign reserves and boosting economic growth. The government must establish stability and restore investor trust through reliable policies and improved security for sustainable economic progress. Crux. Saudi Arabia has committed an additional $600 million investment in Pakistan, raising its total investment to $2.8 billion, following Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif's recent visit. Despite these promises, Pakistan has yet to attract the level of Gulf investment anticipated. Continued efforts to bring foreign investments are hindered by a challenging investment climate, worsened by policy inconsistencies, security concerns, and instability. For effective results, Pakistan must focus on structural reforms, honoring contracts, and maintaining consistent policies to rebuild investor confidence. Key points: rising allegations against India. India faces allegations from Canada and the US about targeting Sikh activists abroad, allegedly orchestrated by its Home Minister, Amit Shah. These accusations gained attention after Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a pro-Khalistan activist, was killed in Canada last year, leading to deteriorated relations between India and Canada. Diplomatic tensions. In response to Nijjar's killing, Canada expelled Indian diplomats linked to the incident, prompting India to reciprocate by expelling Canadian diplomats. Similar allegations have surfaced in the US, where a former Indian intelligence officer has been charged with plotting against a US-based Sikh activist. Pakistan's long-standing claims. Pakistan has frequently accused India of engaging in destabilizing activities within its borders. Islamabad asserts that Indian operatives were involved in recent killings linked to Kashmiri outfits, which aligns with Canada and the US's concerns about India's interference. Implications for India's global image. Canada's claim linking India's Home Minister to violent actions suggests potential state-sponsored terrorism by India. Such actions could impact India's relations with Western nations, who may not tolerate perceived threats on their soil. Policy reconsideration needed. India's aggressive stance towards foreign dissidents, part of BJP's assertive foreign policy, is increasingly backfiring internationally. For better relations with both the West and Pakistan, India may need to abandon such tactics and foster more peaceful diplomatic strategies. Potential diplomatic repercussions. As Western countries increasingly take a stand against foreign interference, India risks diplomatic isolation if these accusations persist. Recognizing and addressing these concerns is vital for India to avoid further backlash and repair its international reputation. Crux. India's alleged covert operations against Sikh activists abroad, particularly in Canada and the US, have severely strained its diplomatic relations with these countries. following accusations that Indian Home Minister Amit Shah orchestrated plots against Sikh dissidents. Western governments are now scrutinizing India's foreign activities. Such incidents resonate with Pakistan's long-standing claims of Indian interference. For improved diplomatic ties, India must reconsider its strategies, especially its hostile approach toward dissidents abroad, which Western states view as a threat to their sovereignty. Key points: current measures and limitations. Punjab's green lockdowns in Lahore include restrictions on construction, open-air barbecues, high-emission vehicles, and earlier closure of marriage halls. Despite these efforts, experts feel these steps are insufficient given the dangerously high AQI levels far above the WHO's recommended maximum of 50. Health and economic impact. Severe smog poses serious health risks, especially to vulnerable groups, and results in lower productivity due to reduced air quality. Cross-border cooperation. Punjab's chief minister has proposed collaboration with Indian Punjab for joint measures against pollution, as winds carry pollutants across borders. Mutual efforts could include stricter emission controls and joint air quality monitoring. Crop stubble burning. Both Indian and Pakistani farmers continue stubble burning due to limited alternatives, worsening air pollution. India's subsidization of residue management tools, like superseders, is positive but needs broader reach and affordability for sustained impact. Infrastructure and green initiatives. More air quality monitoring stations in Lahore are essential for accurate reporting and data consistency. Expanding green cover in Lahore through urban forests and tree plantations can improve air quality over time. Long-term solutions. Moving towards clean energy, subsidizing electric vehicles, EVs, and strengthening public transport infrastructure are crucial steps for pollution reduction. A public awareness campaign on reducing individual pollution contributions, like limiting private vehicle use and avoiding open fires, is also recommended. Unified and sustained action. Addressing smog effectively requires comprehensive, cross-border, and community-driven approaches to improve air quality for a healthier future. Crux. In response to Lahore's extreme smog levels, the Punjab government has introduced green lockdowns, targeting activities that contribute to pollution, though experts believe more extensive actions are needed. The AQI readings recently surged to 708, posing severe health risks. Addressing smog requires cross-border collaboration with Indian Punjab, reducing crop stubble burning, investing in clean energy, expanding urban greenery, and enhancing public awareness to achieve lasting improvement in air quality.